Hey everyone, welcome back to our SDG book club for Prairie Lakes AEA. I'm super excited to be back in a new school year, ready to share with you. Um, we took a hiatus over the summer, so we are a little bit behind what the actual UN is in terms of their goal, but I wanted to make sure that you had access and that there was an opportunity for you to be able to really dig into this with your kids. So, with that in mind, I want to sort of jump right into the sharing, but this is that awkward space where I kill a little time just in case someone wants to jump on live. I did set them up so that you can join these um, Zoom sessions and ask your own questions and participate. But I also, wanted to keep in mind that teachers are busy, and 3:30 is probably about when you're getting out of class for many of you. So they're also designed to be fairly standalone so that I can share some content and ideas with you, and you can come back to them later. With that in mind, you'll see that recording space at the bottom. There will be a link. So if you have access to these slides, which the link is provided there on this slide for you, it's bit.ly/PLAEASDG2. You'll have access to these slides and the recording, as well as, I'll share that out on social media. But I am Leslie Prawley Osborne. I am an instructional technology consultant, as well as I have the privilege of doing the social studies work for Prairie Lakes AEA here in Iowa. So super excited to combine some of these things and share them with you. And so let's just dig in. This is a 17-month project by the United Nations. Again, this is just our little chapter that I've been doing some digging and sharing and putting some things together. But this month will be on our goals, zero hunger. So we're on goal 2. If you click on some of the resources that I've linked, I think they're on goal 5 for this month. But again, I already explained why we're a little behind. So thinking about zero hunger, I was working with some students at Northeast Hamilton in 5th and 6th grade the last few weeks, and they were doing sort of a toe dip into the Sustainable Development Goals. And I wanted to share one of the student posters with you, because one of the things I asked them to do was I stole AJ Giuliani's SDG PSA task and sort of modified it to fit a classroom and the time that we had. And so the students were tasked with creating a PSA to share with their classmates so that we could learn a little bit more about each of the goals. And one of the ones that they chose was zero hunger. And so we wanted to make sure to share with you all that it's not just about having access to food, but it's about having access to nutritious food. And they had some statistics and some tips for what you could do, like donating food to shelters or donating funds. But we'll get to more options about the what do I do in a little bit. So thank you, Noah and Brianna. So the books for the school, I want to start there. Each of these in the slide deck is hyperlinked to Amazon, not because I am any sort of Amazon affiliate, but it's because it's where I do my shopping. So any place that you buy books will probably have access to these. So if you're a Barnes & Noble fan, or I often stop at my local Books A Million, wherever you find books, right? So the ones that the UN has chosen for this month are The Good Garden, Thank You Amu, Maddie's Fridge, Stone Soup, and The Lunch Thief. So I actually went to my local library. Shout out to Kendall Young Library in Webster City, because they have an amazingly diverse selection. And I was able to find 2 of these. They had a third one, but Stone Soup was checked out, so I couldn't get that one. So I brought home The Good Garden, which was fantastic. So this one actually digs into a story of a little girl, and her father has to go away because he needs to do some additional work in the off season. They don't have enough from just their crops to support their family. So it talks about how they have to pay in, and if they have to end up buying their seeds at an increased cost, then that's going to negatively impact their family, and they've seen so many others lose their farm. So in the meantime, at her school, a gentleman comes in and starts teaching them more about sustainable agriculture and some things that they can do to increase their crop production. And it's a really interesting, well done book. I highly recommend it. I thought it was cool to see some of the crossover. So it's not just about food. There's some education in there. Thinking about helping hands and what people can do, and it talks about what we can do with the soil, and how they use the terraces to take care of their land. So I don't want to violate any copyright and like literally read you the book, but I could because it was really good. So that's one that I highly recommend. That was The Good Garden. The second one I found at my local library was Thank You, Amu, which has a little bit of a, if I remember Stone Soup correctly, it has a little bit of a Stone Soup vibe, right? Where Amu has made this delicious soup and she's sharing with others as they come to her door because they smell this amazing soup. And she's willing to share and help out the others in her community. Of course, then she has limited resources of her own and they all come together. I don't want to spoil endings, right? But I feel like you need to know what the books are about. And then this one was not on the UN list. This one is called Beatrice's Goat. I'm trying not to get a huge glare there. Beatrice's Goat was one that I just sort of grabbed off the shelf because they had it displayed. It's by Paige McBriar. I should go back and link this one in the slides, and so I will make sure I do that in the speaker notes there for you. This one, I want to use the word cross-curricular, but it's cross-SDG, so it's a little bit about making sure we have access to nutritious foods to stay healthy. It's a little bit about education because she's trying to raise money, she uses her goat to raise money to be able to go to school because she previously hadn't been able to afford the uniform or the books to even go to school. A little bit about this entrepreneurship and this young girl who's selling her goods and able to support her family. So it really sort of touches on several different themes, but I just thought it was really interesting. And there's that particular book, it donates to Heifer International, I think. I was trying to pull it up. Yeah, so some of the proceeds, it says the proceeds go to help those in need, families in need, and it is in conjunction with Heifer International. So I wanted to pull that one out as well. So as we're thinking about these themes in these books, this idea of zero hunger, I went through and pulled out some of the social studies standards that might connect with these. So in kindergarten, we can look at ways we're like and different, right? They look at a variety of social categories. So it's types of food we eat, ways we grow our food, it's how we share with our community. Giving examples of choices that are made because of scarcity, I thought was really important. But I think the piece that goes along with that is sort of, I mentioned it last time when we talked about no poverty, is being really careful how you address that. Because it's easy, particularly at a young age, to not be able to understand maybe what's a choice, or, it's easy to get well, just work harder and you would have more, because it makes sense, right? Like that is the world a lot of us live in, but that's not the reality for everyone. So really making sure that we address that in an age-appropriate way, but in a way that isn't alienating students that might be in a situation where they're hungry themselves, right? These are hard conversations and they're important conversations. I believe it's 1 in 6 children in the state of Iowa experiences hunger and food scarcity. So these are real issues affecting our students every single day. And so just thinking about that and keeping that in mind as you talk about them as a classroom is really important. And then, of course, I included the environmental characteristics as we're thinking about food and agriculture and what we grow in Iowa and how that might not be possible in other places. There's always space for that. First grade, I dug into cultural practices again, community, comparing goods and services, the way we use those, how we meet daily needs. Second grade, into working through conflict, solving community problems. That's a huge strand throughout this. Again, looking at scarce resources, natural resources, and goods and services. And we also dig into a little bit of what the government provides with that. So that, excuse me. That's another one to start to consider in second grade. Third grade, again, pulling on the conflicts and what do we do and how do these things affect each other? How does food scarcity affect different social groups and how they interrelate? Um, Thinking about family income again with risks and how that can play a role, and then saving and investing, again, making sure that we are really focusing on positive messages to kids in really hard topics. Fourth grade, conflict and collaboration among social groups, costs associated with choices, spending and saving. This is where we get into some of those agriculture standards that are really great. I'm glad they're in there, but I've had some fourth grade teachers go, "Are we doing all the farming? Like, what is that about?" So think about those things, because while everyone's jam may not be agriculture, we certainly can talk about things like sustainable agriculture and energy and how we can help others and those sorts of things. So maybe thinking about it in a different lens than just straight up, this is farming in Iowa, and how that impact can play out. And then for fifth grade, I went ahead and grabbed, again, thinking about government. This is obviously at a deeper level than the younger grade, and then giving examples of financial risks. And so thinking about some of those pieces that play there. I pulled some of the informed action standards. I sort of lumped these together because they are similar in those anchor standards across grade levels. The number may not be the same necessarily, but the standard is there. So thinking about solving and acting on civic problems in the classroom and taking individual and group action to address local, regional, and or global problems. And hunger is definitely one that we can say is a local problem. We may not see it, but we know it's there. Again, those Iowa statistics, they break my heart. It just came across the radio this weekend when we were driving. There was an ad for hunger and its effects on our state in particular, and then regional, and then of course globally, and thinking outside of just our own environment and experience, but what does that look like in other places? So I told you we get back to the what can we do. I love this resource from the United Nations. They have put together, it's called 170 Daily Actions to Transform Our World. I actually printed it in a nice little laminated binder so I can take it with me. So when I'm working with kids, we can talk about this is what that one, or this is what that SDG is, and these are some things we can do about it, because we don't just want information, right? We want information for the sake of action and knowledge for the sake of action. And so I've grabbed the Zero Hunger. Again, this is linked in your slides, but here are some of the things we can do about Zero Hunger. And there are some really great connections to things that many schools probably already do, like food drives and can drives, but there's some other ideas in there as well. So actually, just before I jumped on this webinar, saw a tweet about a woman in Denmark and the work she's doing to end food waste. And so I'm going to drop that link in the speaker notes on this slide, because I thought that was just a really interesting article. And she's using like really funny, displays in grocery stores and doing some just fun and different creative things to reduce food waste in her country. And so I'll put that again in the speaker notes on this slide. Additional resources. So the United Nations and some of the global goals, Teach SDGs organizations have put together some amazing stuff. So I've linked several of them here for you. There are some specific to Goal 2 Zero Hunger, like from the UN. Plate Pioneers is another good one. Some learning goals, resources for educators there. The Hunger Project is another one to definitely check out. Teaching Tolerance is one of my favorite all-time websites for all the things, but I did a search of their resources around hunger, and then I linked the search results for that. So it's all different grade levels, everything from articles to lesson plans. again, all the way K-12. So there's so much there. It's such a robust resource. Anytime I need to know about anything or find lesson plans on anything, I go there and check with that particular space because they have so much and they do so much work to keep that up to date and really with the most relevant and timely resources. So I wanted to make sure you had access to that. And then while this one isn't specific to Goal 2, I did end up linking at the bottom Frida and the Sustainable Development Goals. It's a book that the UN put out. You can download it. Again, I printed mine because I like to have it handy and be able to flip through. But they have it available for download that you could print for yourself as well. It's a really nice overview, quick, fun pictures. Frida shares what each of the goals is about. So as we're thinking about how we introduce these things to kids as an overall concept of the SDGs or as a specific goal, there's some kid-friendly language. It even breaks down some of the vocabulary that's used. So that's one that, again, it's not goal specific, but is a great resource. As always, if you have ideas or questions, please feel free to send them my way. In the future, we have other people jump on our Zoom. This would be a time when I would love to have others share, but at this point in time, I just want to make sure you know I'm available for anything that you might need. And if I don't know, I can help you find someone who does, which is usually the case because I will not ever claim to be an expert in all the things. But I'm excited to help you on this journey. And then finally, wrapping up, we'll be doing Goal 3, Good Health and Wellbeing, on Thursday, October 17th. Same time, 3:30. So join me after school. You can sign up for email reminders. If you're a Prairie Lakes school, I also on that form with the reminders, you can sign up to be in a drawing to win a free book about that month's goal. So I'm kind of excited about that. I felt like this is something I'm passionate about and something that we need to get into the hands of more kids. So if you sign up there, you have a chance to win that resource. Otherwise, that's about it for this time. I tried to go through this and keep the video fairly concise for you. Again, I'll paste that recording link and share it out on social media. If you want more info about this book club, the S'more is available to you. If you want more info about the UN's book club in general, I also wanted to make sure that was there for you. So I've included their information along with the bit.ly for these slides. So this is that S'more I was talking about. Has all our upcoming times, not all, sorry, it's through the end of the year, the times that we'll be sharing information and what we'll be talking about and when, and then the Zoom link so you can join. Past goals, the videos are pasted here. I'll do this one as soon as I upload it. That form to get more information and win a free book. More information is for anyone. Books are for Prairie Lake schools. And then my contact info and some resources for you as well. So anything and everything you could ever want. Well, okay, maybe not quite, but I tried to give you all the things that I could think about that you might want at your fingertips. I am so glad that I've had this opportunity to share with you. If there's anything else that you need, please let me know. My contact info and that are all in the comments for the video, and you have the links. Have a great rest of your week.